Would you like to hear a joke? The Canadian justice system. Yes, the Canadian justice system is the only thing in Canada that is a bigger joke than Justin Trudeau.
Never fear, the Queen of the North is here. That's me.
Let me ask you this. If two individuals commit a robbery and during that process an infant and his grandparents' lives are taken, how many years do you think the criminals should get in prison? If a man pleads guilty to creating and distributing illegal material involving children, how many years do you think he should get in prison? If a 27-year-old man takes the life of a 72-year-old man out of anger, how many years do you think he should get in prison? Whatever answer you thought of in your head, just hold on to it, because I'm going to answer the questions for you. And when I answer the questions, you will understand why I say that the Canadian justice system is a joke. Hello everyone, if you're a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If this is your second, third, fourth time watching one of my videos and you're not yet subscribed, we already go together. Okay, make it official and hit that subscribe button. Today's video is about the criminal justice system in Canada and how it uses identity politics to justify letting criminals serve light sentences for their crimes. Canada has historically had the reputation of being a safe country, but violent crime is up everywhere across Canada. It is now 30% higher than it was just 10 years ago. Canada has now officially ranked as one of the world's worst countries for auto theft.
Today's early morning crash near Bathurst and Wilson involved a stolen vehicle.
Some guy's up before a judge for having stolen a car, gets let off and went into the parking lot of the courthouse and stole another car.
Take a look at this video captured by a doorbell camera. Peel police say the woman you see approaching this home is a suspect in a brazen and violent vehicle theft.
Video circulating social media shows car thieves in Brampton backing a truck out of a driveway. It happened last week around 5 in the morning, the thieves ramming the pickup into another car parked behind it in order to get free. Within 30 seconds, the family in the home race out screaming. Some of them chase on foot as the thieves speed off. In Peel Region, 17 cars are stolen per day. That's down from last year when 23 cars were stolen every day. Overall in the province, insurance claims have skyrocketed over the last few years.
One of the main reasons crime has been on the rise is because criminals know that they will get light sentences for their actions. And in many instances, if you are a member of a marginalized group, you are given preferential treatment specifically for that reason. In this video, I want to share four stories with you. Okay, and the first one takes place in Ontario and it involves two international students from India named Gagandeep Singh and Manpreet Gill. In the winter of 2024, Gagandeep Singh went on a crime spree. He was charged for being in possession of a stolen vehicle. On a separate occasion, he was charged for violently robbing an LCBO liquor store and stealing hundreds of dollars worth of liquor. On another occasion, he was charged with stealing hundreds of dollars of merchandise from Home Depot. On another occasion, he was charged with robbing an LCBO again.
Are you serious?
Not once did he ever steal a bag of bread or a carton of eggs or even a book from a bookstore. He robbed liquor stores and he stole vehicles. Such scholarly behavior from an international student. All of these crimes that he committed happened over the span of 2 months, and each time Gagandeep was arrested and charged, he was released on bail, and so he continued to re-offend. Now, Gagandeep's friend Manpreet Gill is also a scholar. He has been charged several times with drug-related charges. So these two were chronic criminals, but the Canadian justice system continued to give them a slap on the wrist, and so they continued their crime spree. On April 29, 2024, Gagandeep Singh once again robbed an LCBO liquor store with his scholar accomplice Manpreet Gill, who was the lookout. During the midst of the robbery, the police were called and a high-speed car chase ensued with Gagandeep as the driver and Manpreet in the passenger seat.
Oh my God!
In that U-Haul van racing down the highway in the wrong direction, two men were fleeing Durham police.
There's a psycho in a truck driving the wrong way.
The high-speed chase ending in a fatal crash that killed 3-month-old Aditya Vivan and his two grandparents. The van driver also died, and now CBC News has learned his passenger is facing charges stemming from the incident that led to this chaos. Newly obtained court records show Manpreet Singh Gill is charged with a robbery at an LCBO liquor store, possession of up to $5,000 in stolen merchandise, and several counts related to breach of probation. He and the driver were both out on bail.
And Manpreet has never faced any charges related to the death of the infant nor his grandparents. Manpreet initially faced 13 counts related to the robbery and breach of probation, but ended up pleading guilty to only 3 charges. He was sentenced to only 5.5 months in prison and was granted time served. So he's currently out on probation, and as of the making of this video, there are no orders to deport him back to India. This is a situation where I do wish that the laws in Canada were more similar to some laws that America has, because in some states in America, if a group of people are committing a crime and someone dies during the commission of the crime, all of them can be charged for that death. That's not something that we have here in Canada, and I really wish that we did, because I think it's unjust that Manpreet Singh was involved in committing a crime where 3 people died, and he only got 5.5 months in prison. Where's the justice in that? If you live in Canada, you probably heard about the tragic car crash because it was a really big deal when it happened, but you likely didn't hear the outcome of the trial, that he only got 5.5 months in prison. The mainstream media didn't bring too much attention to this very lenient prison sentence, and oftentimes stories are suppressed if they don't fit a certain narrative, and even when they aren't suppressed, there is an issue with bias in the media, and that is exactly why I use longtime supporter of the channel and sponsor of today's video, Ground News. Ground News is a platform that I trust, and you can check them out by scanning the QR code on the screen or by heading to ground.news/NCS for 40% off. Ground News is a website and app that gathers news from all around the world and all sides of the political spectrum in one place, which allows you to compare coverage and verify your information. For example, check out this story. GameStop CEO decries wokeness and DEI as company seeks to sell Canadian and French operations. Ground News provides 36 sources for this story, with 32% left-leaning, 42% centrist, and 26% right-leaning. And just by comparing the headlines, we can see the difference in reporting. For example, this headline from a left-leaning source: GameStop CEO scapegoats DEI for company troubles, versus this headline from a right-leaning source: GameStop CEO selling stores in Canada to escape wokeness and high taxes. The left-leaning source accuses GameStop of scapegoating DEI, whereas the right-leaning source mentions high taxes being a concern in addition to wokeness. Every day, millions of news events happen all around the world, and to be honest, not all of them interest me, so I use my Vantage subscription to create a custom news feed to see the topics that interest me. I simply go to my interests and select the topics that I want to appear in my feed, such as entertainment, Canadian politics, movies, and TV. If there's a specific country, company, or public figure that I'm interested in, I can add those to my interest list, and all news related to those topics will appear in my feed. I've been working with Ground News for over a year now because I sincerely see the value in their platform. They're not looking to persuade people's opinions. They simply present you with the information so that you can make your own decision, and I highly recommend that you all check them out. I'm giving my viewers 40% off this unlimited access plan, which you can access by scanning the QR code or by going to ground.news/NCS. Subscribing not only supports my work, you're also supporting an independent platform working to make the media landscape more transparent. A special thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this video. The next story I want to share with you took place in Vancouver, British Columbia on December 15th, 2020, and involves a man named Anthony Warren Woods. Anthony had been drinking with a friend when they entered the Biltmore Hotel around 2 p.m. and they took the elevator to the 6th floor, where they continued drinking, and they took drugs inside a suite for about 30 minutes before leaving, pounding on doors and yelling as they walked down the hallway. This disruptive behavior caused many of the tenants to complain to the manager. Anthony and his friend rode the elevator up to the 7th floor, then down to the ground floor, where 72-year-old Alex Gortmaker and a woman entered the elevator. The woman exited on the 3rd floor, leaving Alex in the elevator with Anthony and his friend. While the elevator was traveling between the 3rd and 5th floor, Alex, the 72-year-old man, had said something to Anthony while slightly pushing him. During this interaction, Anthony, 27-year-old Anthony, produced a knife and stabbed 72-year-old Alex in the chest, puncturing his lung. When the doors to the 5th floor opened, Anthony pushed Alex out of the elevator onto the ground and left him there. Anthony then took the elevator down to the second floor, jumped out of a balcony, and fled the scene of the crime, leaving 72-year-old Alex bleeding to death on the floor. Unfortunately, Alex didn't survive this incident, and Anthony was later picked up by the police, where he confessed to the police about his part in the death of Alex. After this confession, what do you think the police did? Did they A, arrest him and charge him with murder, B, arrest him and charge him for doing drugs, C, arrest him and charge him for manslaughter, or D, arrest him and charge him for mischief? No. That's the wrong answer. Whatever you chose is the wrong answer because it was a trick question. The truth is, the police did nothing.
You serious?
They let him go. He confessed to taking someone's life, and they let him leave without pressing charges. You know what's crazy? A man in New Brunswick was recently fined $4,600 for a car accident that happened 65 years ago. And he says he doesn't even remember it, like that it happened. Meanwhile, this crackhead got away with murder. Well, okay, there's a little bit more to the story, but still. The police did eventually bother to arrest him after 9 months. After 9 months, they finally picked him up and they charged him with manslaughter. Not murder, but manslaughter. The trial happened, he was convicted, and he only spent 8 months in prison. It takes a mother more time to create life than he got in prison for taking one. This is a quote from the judge that presided over the case. I find as a fact that his level of culpability was substantially reduced. My conclusion is based on the following collective factors: Mr. Wood's direct and indirect experiences as an Indigenous person, his significant cognitive deficits, his ADHD, and to a lesser extent, his state of intoxication. So, because he is a person of color, he is not responsible for his actions. As a person of color, that is some bullshit. Mr. Wood's impairment must not be considered in isolation from his experience as an Indigenous person. That is, that they must be viewed collectively, and in doing so, it is inescapable that his impairments directly contributed to his offense. So they're linking the fact that he was intoxicated on drugs and alcohol to the fact that he is Indigenous.
Hey, that's racist.
If someone can so needlessly take the life of another person and basically get away with it, how is that even a deterrent for that individual or others in the community? How does that make the community safer? Giving him a light sentence because he is Indigenous is ridiculous. But this is not a unique case. Take, for example, Saeed Abbas. Saeed's entire adult life has been a string of crimes, brief prison sentences, and parole violations. He has a criminal record spanning 25 years. The 44-year-old man has racked up 25 convictions ranging from arson to car theft and 22 breaches of parole.
Sophie, witnesses say it was like watching a Hollywood movie unfold. A 36-year-old man has been arrested after a violent crime spree, as you mentioned. It all started at 8 o'clock this morning. A gray Acura was stolen in Richmond, involved in a road rage incident where the driver allegedly pointed a firearm. Soon after, that same vehicle was involved in a number of incidents in Vancouver. The first near Glen Drive and Terminal Avenue. The driver allegedly tried to steal a purse off the shoulder of a 19-year-old woman. The second incident on Vancouver's west side near 18th Avenue and Laurel Street. Again, a man reportedly driving a stolen Acura, pointing a gun at a 34-year-old woman and taking her purse. An hour later, Vancouver police spotted the stolen car in the parking lot of Kingsgate Mall. The driver ran the police car and drove away at high speed. With the help of the police helicopter, the emergency response team was able to pin the stolen car near Quebec Street and First Avenue and take the driver into custody.
Between September of 2022 and January of 2023, Saeed went on a crime spree. 5 break-ins, fraud offenses, car thefts. He went on several shopping sprees with stolen wallets, and when he was most recently arrested, it was while he was in the midst of breaking into a Mercedes-Benz dealership. The police caught him, and on his person was an illegal firearm. All of these crimes he committed should have gotten him 10 years or more in prison, but instead, he was sentenced to 2 years. He was also credited time served for the time he spent in prison during the trial, and so he's free. He's out to continue terrorizing British Columbia once again. Similar to the last story, a large part of why Saeed Abbas got a light sentence is because he is a person of color. The judge and the prosecutor not his defense attorney, but the judge and the prosecutor, the person prosecuting him, argued that he should get a light sentence because of his race. Miller, who was the prosecutor, also pointed out a report that highlighted the trauma, racism, and poverty Abbas suffered since his parents came to Canada as refugees from Palestine. He has been committing crimes in Canada for over 25 years. He didn't just arrive yesterday. Like, this man has 25 convictions and 22 parole violations, and they are blaming the fact that he is Arab. That's racist! He continues to commit crimes not because of his race, but because he keeps getting away with it. Stop letting him out of prison. At this point, he probably likes going to prison because all of his basic needs, like food and shelter, are guaranteed. And I bet it won't be long before he's arrested again for committing the same crimes that he's been committing for the last 25 years. The last story I want to share with you involves a man named Danny Lauzon, who now goes by Crystal Lauzon.
What the hell is even that?
Danny, aka Crystal, is a deviant. His entire Facebook page is full of suggestive pictures, and in my opinion, his decision to transition to Crystal is not because he has some type of gender dysphoria, it's rather because he has a fetish. In 2020, Lauzon was arrested on child pornography charges after he was found to have filmed a 10-year-old girl in the shower and then distributed the content to predator forums online. This is a prime example of why we do not want men in women's change rooms. Lauzon was also caught with hundreds of other images depicting children being victimized. For his actions, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison, but he was released after serving only 3 years. Upon his release, Lauzon began sharing illegal materials with predators once again, and on at least one occasion, he invited another predator to join him to self-congratulate while viewing illegal images of children. I'm filtering myself because of the algorithm, but also because I don't want to say these words. It bothers me. The things that he has done really bothers me. I don't want to say it, so I'm filtering myself. But Lauzon has posted online that attraction to minors should be seen as an orientation and should be normalized. And he has also advocated online for minors to be allowed to transition. When Lauzon was arrested for a second time, he was found in possession of images involving young girls, mostly under the age of 10, with some of the victims being toddlers. They were victims of SA, and in some instances, they were forced to commit acts with animals. In September of 2024, Lauzon pleaded guilty to several counts related to the possession, production, and distribution of illegal child images. And for his depraved behavior, he was sentenced to 18 months in a women's prison.
What? What the fuck?
The courts are treating him as if he is a woman and using his preferred pronouns and using his chosen name, Crystal. This man knows what will happen to him if he goes to a men's prison, and that's why he wants to be in a women's prison. And the fact that the courts have obliged him is insane. He's not a woman, and he is very clearly a risk to other women. One of the reasons we put people in prison is not just punishment, but also to make sure they cannot continue to commit crimes. Putting a sexual predator with an impulse to victimize females in a prison with females is a violation of the rights of all of the real women in that prison. And only 18 months for what he did? He is 1000% going to re-offend once he gets out because he thinks it is okay to be attracted to minors. 18 months in prison for what he did is far too lenient of a sentence. I really hope that the Conservatives in Canada win the next election, and I really hope that Pierre Poilievre keeps his promise to be tough on crime. All of the tax dollars that is being spent on gender-affirming care and painting the sidewalks with rainbows and putting rainbow flags up in front of every federal building, I want all of that money to be redirected to keeping deviants like Lauzon in prison indefinitely. That is all I have for this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you are not yet subscribed, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you guys enjoy my content and you would like to support me, please check out my Patreon, which will be in the description box down below. Or you can check out the sponsor of today's video, Ground News, which will also be linked in the description box down below. If you liked this video and you would like to see 2 more like it, I will have 2 more videos for you in the end cards. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.